met with Paul Selig, who's the best-selling author of 7 books so far. And the way he writes his books is very special. Paul actually channels books from beings he calls the guides. I read Paul's first book, I Am the Word. I saw a couple of his other interviews, and it seems to me that he's really speaking the truth that is aligned to other wisdom that is out there. And yeah, I was really inspired by his content that I saw, so I reached out to him. We met in London for an interview, and I also attended his 2-day workshop in London, and let me tell you, it was mind-blowing. It was really magic. The energy in the room was really palpable and feelable, and he also can tune into people, so really tell them what they actually know, but they don't know in the moment, or they don't think about it in the moment. And yeah, it was really a very special weekend for me. So I'm happy to publish this interview with Paul Selig. And if you have the chance to read one of his books or go to one of his workshops, I would absolutely recommend you to do so. Without further ado, enjoy this interview with Paul Selig. Hi Paul, thank you for joining this interview.
I'm happy to be here.
I would like to start with some big questions first. What would you say, just you as person, as Paul Selig, what is your life purpose, or what is your mission or your why?
You know, I show up. My purpose right now is to show up for the work that seems to be coming through me with great consistency and with some great insistence, that I show up for it. So I didn't expect to be a channel, and if anybody told me that this is what I would be showing up for, maybe even 20 years ago, I would have thought that they were probably mad. But my purpose is to show up for the work that I've been given, even when I don't want to, and support a transmission that I hope is here to help other people awaken to their own divine or innate true nature.
Mm-hmm. And if you think about the year 2050, do you have personally, as Paul, do you have a big vision for the future?
2050? Well, I doubt I'll be here at that time. I hope you're still here. I don't have a big vision for that time. My thinking, truthfully, my personal thinking tends to stay to the day as much as I can, because I believe that if we shift our consciousness in the day, what will come will be far greater.
Mm-hmm. How can people support you in what you're doing, in your mission, in showing up?
Be nice to me. I don't have a lot of requirements. How can people support me in this? I don't understand what I do. I'm not that interested in having people project onto me qualities that are not mine. I always say I'm not a spiritual teacher and I'm not a guru. I show up as a radio for a very specific transmission that seems to come with an energy that for most people is palpable. And the radio that I am seems to have the ability to attune the radio that others are to play this high broadcast that's now available to us here. So in terms of support, I'm appreciative right now of the willingness that people are coming to this work with, this willingness to accept even the possibility that this is so, because I come from a background where things like this weren't considered to be possible, and now they're possible. They're possible for me in my own experience and my experience of others as well. So I'm appreciative, of people just showing up. So if people want to support this, they're welcome to show up for it.
Awesome. So in your first book, I Am the Word, that was published back in 2010, you were channeling that we are in a transitioning time. And I think a lot of conscious people feel this shift or this transitioning time. What would you think, or what do the guides think about how important is it to have a life purpose, or to feel it and to live aligned with it? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I'm going to go to the guides with this because this is more their territory than my own. And I should say that if I'm channeling, I whisper the words as they come, and then I repeat them, and it sounds awkward, but that's just how the transmission occurs. They're saying a life purpose is an idea, and it must be malleable to future prediction, future possibility, future possibility, to be intractable in one's idea of how one serves, how one expresses fully. How one expresses fully is to deny potential, is to deny the potential of great change that may be in the offering, So we would recommend for someone seeking their purpose, to seek their authentic self, and to stay in alignment to it, and to stay in alignment to it, unimpressed, and then to, progress as you are called to, outside of a stable idea, or a dictate about what it should be, to decide what something should be. To decide what something should be is to hark to the past, is to hearken to the past, where things were once known in a certain way, The present moment holds the answer you seek, not an idea of what should be, not an idea of what should be, period. And they're saying period.
Mm-hmm. And how do people find their authentic self or get in touch with it?
Choose it. Trust that it's possible. The guides I work with attunements to energy. And one of the attunements is, I know who I am in truth. I know what I am in truth. I know how I serve in truth. Who is a claim of identity. It's the true self that always knows who it is. Whether you want to call it he or she, the true self knows, isn't trying to figure it out. And the what that the true self is the manifestation as who and what you are, as the physicalized, realized self. And they say how one serves is how one is most fully expressed as the true self, which is how you show up fully in the world for what is here for you. So how to know this? I'm going to go to the guides. They're saying you just said it. It's really very simple, and it's really very simple. Align to the potential. There's an aspect of self, that there is an aspect of self who knows already, who is not frightened, who is not confused, who has an answer, that will always be true, Learn to listen, not to what you think, but what you know, but to what you know, and you will be free, of the fear of knowing, period. Okay.
Do the guides share a vision for the year 2050 or for the future of humanity?
I'll ask. They're not big on calendar dates. Mm-hmm. They talk about time as a construct that we're all in agreement to. 2050 is an idea. They're saying, well, here you go. I'm sorry. They're saying 2050 is an idea. It's just an idea. It's just an idea. It's just a potential. Don't look at it as something that will be as you perceive it to be, or make 2050, or you'll make 2050 the time you stand in now, Your idea of 2050 is based on a concept, of an absolute linear time, and progression that exists, in a sequence or order, that you've grown accustomed to, when you move beyond the idea of time, to the expression of the true self, to the expression of the true self, who knows who and what it is, beyond the small self's idea, of what can be conceived of, the potential is great. The potential is great for reknowing all things, as of God, or one source, 2015 as an idea, as you ask it, is asking to know, will we still be here as we were? Will we still be here as we were? Will we all be gone somewhere else? Will we all be gone somewhere else? Will we have mastered the ideas we're seeking now? Will we have mastered the ideas we are seeking now? All of these ideas are based in old ideas, period. And they're saying period. Sorry about the phone.
No worries. Yeah, that's powerful, the idea of moving
I didn't catch
time.
It. Well, the idea, if I were to say, I hope tomorrow's workshop goes well, right? Because I'm here to do a workshop. I'm going to be referencing my ideas of every other workshop I've ever shown up for to compare it. So my idea of what tomorrow is part of an equation that's born in my idea of what was, which takes me out of the present moment. And the guides say what we end up doing, whether or not we know it, is we're always calling, they say we're always dining out on yesterday's leftovers. We're always calling yesterday into the present moment without knowing it, and then we predict it. We predict our future based on our idea of the past, as opposed to what I suggest they would say is knowing who we are in the present moment, knowing who we are in the present moment, because that's the only time things can be made new. They can't be made new if I'm looking at them through the lens of yesterday.
So you're from New York City, and we are here, one day before your 2-day workshop in London. I'll get to the workshop in the next question, but we're also meeting here up with the Aubrey Marcus, the Fit for Service Mastermind. There are 150 people all over the world, but 140 of them are from the US. I think in Europe we are just 7 people, and I sometimes feel like a bit disconnected or lonely here compared to the US. So it feels that the conscious community is way bigger in the US, like all the authors, the podcasts, the YouTubers. It feels they are all there. And I'm wondering, do you have any idea how can we connect the conscious community across Europe to be more connected here with all the people who are interested in that?
I have no idea. I'll ask and see. Decide that you're not alone. Decide that you're not alone. Wave your hand in the air. Wave your hand in the air. Look at me. Here I am. Look at me. Here I am. Come and speak to me. Come and speak to me. Come let us know one another. Come let us know one another. Invite your friend. Invite your friend. He can invite his friend as well. He can invite his friend as well. Suddenly you have a collective. Suddenly you have a collective that can indeed grow. That can indeed grow. Make yourself known. Make yourself known and available to what already is, and available to what already is. Geography is an idea. Well, you're not going to like this either. They're saying geography is an idea that you're giving authority to, that you're giving authority to. Welcome everybody wherever they may be. Welcome everybody wherever they may be. You're alone as you say you are. You're as alone as you say you are. Period. And they're saying period.
So I'm really looking forward to the workshop tomorrow. What can we expect from it, or what do you think will happen on what happened in past workshops?
Well, I know what they normally do, I have no idea about this. A large group this weekend. I know there's over 100 people coming for the experience. Generally what happens is the guides I work with begin the weekend by telling us what we're going to do. I don't know. I show up and hope that the reception is clear enough to be good at my job, which is to be in transmission for them. But they explain what's going to happen, and then they attune everybody to work with the energy. So that usually happens early in the day, that they get everybody amped up so that you can be in a broadcast it's a collective experience of energy that's palpable and you can feel. And it's important that you have your own experience of it, because then you realize very quickly, I hope, that you don't need me, because you don't to do this work. You just need to sort of align to the broadcast that you can hold. And then they'll teach, and they'll teach whatever they want, and they'll work with you energetically in a number of ways. I don't know what they'll do tomorrow. They're already preparing for their next book, and they prepare me for that through the workshop so that I get comfortable with some of the concepts that they're bringing through before they begin to dictate it. Because every book that they've dictated, the first 20 or 30 pages, perhaps I've had some understanding of what they're talking about because they've said things like it in prior teachings, and then all bets are off. Then I have no idea. Then every time they teach, I'm going, oh no, this is too much. I can't go here. But they're teaching recently the attunement from the last book, which is the attunement I have come, which is the claim of the divine as manifest, which is quite powerful. And when they get people working with that, the energy is usually very, very high. They've been working a fair amount recently with the rearticulation of matter, which is realizing the inherent divinity that is in manifestation as all things, and the realization of that. When they talk about realization, they talk about the true knowing of that, which tends to be experiential, so that you have an experience of the divine as form and how form itself can be lifted in a way that you can experience. And they do this, I suspect, because it seems that where they're taking us in this work is the lifting of the world, the divine as what you see. I mean, the guides say again and again, you can't make anything holy, but you can deny the inherent divinity of anything. They've often said in the last year, our only real problem on this shared plane is the denial of the divine. If we could just get past that, everything can lift. So we're operating in a dense field here, and they're supporting us and lifting it ourselves, and then the field that we share along with it. So that's what I expect will happen in some way or another.
Mm-hmm. Sounds awesome. Thank you for the interview, Paul, and I'm really looking forward to the workshop.
I'm very glad you're coming. Thank you. Thanks for speaking with me.
If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more interesting people on biohacking, flow and consciousness, on purpose, check out these interviews here on my YouTube channel.